Morning, everybody. It is Thursday morning, and got my workout in this morning. I've been giving myself a goal of I make a list every day of things that I need to do and accomplish for every day. And under workout, I don't list it under workout because workout sounds like a job, like I got to do something that I don't really want to do. And so I list it under health. I write health on my list. And then I put three little lines next to it. And that's because in the morning, I do want to do a workout, either strength training or a little cardio. And just for half an hour of its cardio. And it's usually about 40 minutes of its strength training. Um, but then later in the day, I usually have to take my kids somewhere to exercise, right? Because we homeschool. So they have to go to either an exercise class or we have to go do something. Either they're skating or they're whatever, right? They do different things. Um, and I usually do some exercise just to keep busy while I'm with them. So I fill out a check mark on the second line. And then I have one left. And then what I'll do is sometime throughout the day, after lunch or after dinner, I'll try to get like 20 to 30-minute walk in, right? Well, that ends up being the third workout of the day, and I have a third check mark. Do I always do all my check marks? No, not always, but mostly I do. And I know I keep bringing up Jack LaLanne because we just finished his book this morning. That's one thing that he used to always say is it's not what you do like, what is it? It's not what you do all of the time that works. It's what you do most of the time that matters. That's what it is that matters. And so just keep, trying to try to meet that 80%, right? Or more. 80% or more is that qualifies as most of the time. So, anyway, on my list of what to do every day, I have some goals. And that is every day I want to grow in different ways. So, I put something under health, right? I have health, I have grow, which means to either read, write, or learn a new skill, something like that each day. I want to create each day. I want to work on something, on making something. Either that's a video or some of my arts and crafts or something. I want to produce something, even if it's a recipe. I want to make something, something that comes from my hands every day. And it's just really fulfilling to be able to do that, right? I also want to rest. That's four things so far. I want to rest, and usually, if I can take a moment outside in nature, I think that's probably optimal. That's the most ideal thing. So I have health, I have grow, I have rest, I have create, and then the last thing is community. And that is, I want to reach out and touch someone, not physically, but reach out to someone during the day. Either write a letter, a card, do a phone call, answer some comments now. That helps because this is my wonderful community. I want to say this right now while we're talking about this. I really appreciate you. If you're watching, I appreciate all of the welcome backs I got on my first video back. Every one of you guys, I really treasure and I really missed you. So I'm super glad that you're here. You're a very, very important community to me. And I think we are that to each other here. It's a really wonderful place. So, anyway, those five things I try to do every day, and I get most of them done all the time. And then on top of that, I always add to my list, and I'll pick up the, whatever it is from the store, whatever it is I have to do on top of that, and I do my check marks. But those are really, really important. And one thing that I've been trying to do every day is obviously get in the veggies 3 times a day. I think breakfast is the hardest time to work vegetables in because I did not grow up having like green vegetables at breakfast. It's like they don't belong there. They belong in at lunch, they belong at dinner, right? Or wherever else you can fit them in if you absolutely have to. And nowadays, I really want to work them in. So, what are some ways we can do that? Obviously, a really good way to do that would be smoothies, right? Which I had this morning. and I don't want to have smoothies all the time. But sometimes I'm gonna, you can throw them in an omelet, make a veggie omelet, add some meat or whatever. That's an easy way to do it as well. But there's got to be like other ways to do that. So if you have, I'm really going to try to increase my veggies at breakfast, but I'm really low on ideas. So I'm really going to be exploring that. If you have any ideas on how to incorporate more veggies at breakfast, please share them below because we can all use them. I know I can because my brain just doesn't work that way. And our country is one of those countries that it doesn't typically push super savory breakfasts all the time. Now we have like Denny's and IHOP, and IHOP is more of a pancake place, but Denny's will have like the Grand Slam breakfast. So it's a little savory. They always throw pancakes in there or toast. More or less, it's 2 eggs, 2 bacons. You know what I mean? Like the norm, hash browns. That's kind of savory. But then they do throw in the white flour pancakes to weigh you down. But generally, I don't think that America is a savory type place. You know what I mean? If you go to Japan or if you go somewhere else, they're going to have soup, they're going to have meat, they're going to have veggies, and that's breakfast. And that's not how we see it here. That's not how I grew up. I grew up and it was different. My dad would cook. He was the cook when I was growing up. My mom really didn't come into her cooking love until she was, oh, we were adults. We were adults and we were married. And then we would come back home and she would make things. But before that, she really wasn't the cook in our family. It was my dad. And my dad actually studied culinary for a while, culinary arts. Um, and he used to love to cook. But before breakfast, if he would catch us before school, of course, we're Latin, so he would make the big breakfast with potatoes and bacon or some kind of a breakfast meat, eggs, and we always had like fresh homemade tortillas in our house and usually flour, which was kind of a treat. Corn was always kind of a bummer. When we used corn, it was kind of, for us, it was like using corn tortillas instead of flour tortillas was like using, flat sliced white bread for hot dogs because you've run out of hot dogs buns, and so my husband and I laugh about that because he can't stand it. We run out of buns and we have to use sliced bread, So that's how we felt when we used corn tortillas. My mom would get up and she'd make like a big pot of oatmeal in the morning before we went to school. And she didn't dress it up or anything. She just kind of like left it on the stove. And sometimes she forgot she left it on the stove and it would burn. So it would get the little scorch holes coming up at the top. And then, once have you ever seen what happens when you leave the scorch holes? It's like they're like little mini volcanoes. It's like they poof open and smoke just kind of billows out the top of them like a crater or something. And, that's what we woke up to. So my mom wasn't really the breakfast person. So sometimes we just go to school without because it's like, oh, do I really want to deal with that right now? Probably not. But thanks, Mom. And so breakfast to us, it was different between my mom and dad. But when I got married, I tended to lean on making the sweet breakfasts, the pancakes, the French toast, stuff like that. So I really have to retrain my mind now to lean away from the sweets and to lean toward, meat and veggies and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of a stretch for me. But I've been watching this one channel, but it's called Japanese Grandma Chloe. And she's a 93-year-old grandmother, and her grandson, I believe, puts her channel together. And it's really, really sweet because it's like a day in the life of. So she'll get up and she's really active. She makes her own breakfast. She goes out and works in the garden, comes in and rests. She'll make lunch, she keeps herself productive and she creates and she, tries to just keep herself moving. But just seeing her, because you can sit down and watch her have breakfast, and everything is just so serene and so quiet. it's really kind of inviting to just kind of like be part of her day. But anyway, I've been inspired to begin trying Japanese breakfast sometimes, and I get up and I get in the mood, and I'll make a pot of miso vegetable soup. But anyway, it's that channel. If I could leave a link to her channel, I'll do that. If not, that's where it is because I think YouTube stopped us from doing that for a while. But anyway, the name of her channel is um, Japanese Grandma Chloe. I think that's it. I think that's it. Anyway, you'll find it. It'll come up. She has a lot of viewers. And it's just day in the life stuff, but I like to watch her cook. Anyway, so let's get started. I will show you what I've had for the last couple of days, and we will touch base again soon. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. This is an amazing spice here. I got this from this book from Cardia Brown. I checked it out one day and I was just flipping through it and I ran across this kind of like an all-purpose spice that she makes. It's like a mix. I usually keep it in this jar here. I filled it up. I use the whole thing, you guys. It is so good and super simple. I use this when I coat my chicken, when I oven bake it, or I'll mix it into like a pot of beans or almost anything. It's kind of like the perfect spice mix just to use in anything. The only thing I'd change in here is it's all 1/3 cup. 1/3 cup of this, 1/3 cup of that across the board. You have to use kosher salt. Don't use table salt. It'll be way too salty. Garlic powder, onion powder. The recipe calls for sweet paprika. I have it this time. Last time I used regular and it was okay. She also uses 1/3 cup of black pepper. Now that I only use 2 tablespoons of. So, I would go according to your taste. I don't like that much pepper. The 1/3 cup is a lot of pepper and it'll be way too hot. But anyway, look how pretty it looks. And it is super duper tasty. Trust me. If you can find the sweet paprika, all the better. I always make up my own little light vinaigrette to put on my salads. And I like a little bit of salty and sweet together. And I just don't do like heavy dressings anymore if I can help it. I do love ranch, but I try to stay away from it because of the fat right now. So I'm going to have that salad for dinner and my whole wheat spaghetti noodles with some lean ground beef sauce here. And I don't think I have enough meat in there, so I'm just adding some cottage cheese to my fruit, which is a 1/2 cup of peaches. I'm just staying with a serving of that. And canned is, you're going to have less than that than a whole fruit. All right, next, breakfast. I am inspired by a channel I like to watch. Every now and then I like to do like a Japanese style breakfast. And it's kind of like just like a little omelet. So I've got brown rice, miso veggie soup, which is really simple. I can show you sometime how I make that. I use a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Here, this one's apricot on my cucumbers with a little bit of kosher salt and then just some peaches. And this is just such a wonderful start to the day. Nothing but whole foods, good probiotics in the miso soup. And the miso soup is a good way to get your digestive system woken up gently and going so that, kind of prepares me for the food. And I always try to add a little bit of kimchi when I do this. It really tastes good. So for lunch, I had some beef tacos and I had 3 of the 25 calorie each corn tortillas, some steamed veggies, and some red beans. I made a huge pot of red beans, and so it was really good. I also had a 1/2 cup of applesauce. All right, for dinner we had omelets with some of the beef that I made earlier and some salad. I had a little bit more miso soup and a little brown rice. Couldn't really finish all of it. Next morning, that's this morning, I had a smoothie. I have not had a green smoothie in a long time. Thought I would do it. I got it out of this book I have, The Blender Girl. And I'm going to show you the recipe I followed. This is a really good recipe. Now, it's not the green one. The picture is for the smoothie on the next page. But I did put some kale in mine. And I wouldn't put kale. If you want to make this, I would not put kale in it the first time because you're not going to like it unless you like the bitter taste of kale. I didn't mind, and I'm trying to get vegetables in in my breakfast as well as lunch and dinner. So I threw some curly kale in there. I learned a very long time ago that brown and green, or green and red, make brown. So unless you want a brown smoothie, don't put the kale in it if it's a red smoothie. This is supposed to be like cherries and raspberries flavored, and I've got kale in it too. So it was a little bit bitter, but I didn't mind it so much. And besides that, I'm having one of my zucchini muffins. And you see I usually take 3 of these collagen peptides in the morning. The serving is 6, and I think it's 30 calories. And so I could do that or the powdered here, but I usually just use 3 of these. I haven't worked my way up to 6 yet. It just seems like an awful lot of pills. All right, guys, I'm going to get my day started. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you soon. Have a wonderful and positive day. Bye.